Hello and welcome back to the Comic Lounge. This is, of course, another haul video, and I can't remember the last time I did a haul video, but I swore it was definitely a while ago. Either way, I am back, and so, besides, of course, the usual, I have at least about 16 comics to show you. A few of these are obviously purchased online, while the remainder were purchased from here in town at the local shop, which is Highway to the Gaming Zone. So since I have quite a bit, I will obviously get back to you with these comics. So I will see you after this. Okay, so for this, because since I have quite a bit to show, I'm gonna start off with the ones that I got online. So the first up, obviously this is a brand new Image series. This had been one that had been teased for at least a couple of years, but finally it is here. It of course is a mini series at this point, but it is of course the cover done by Brett Booth for this one, but it is She-Spawn from Gail Simone. So this is the very first issue. Again, this is cover D, drawn by Brett Booth, but this had been teased for at least a couple of years, but finally it came around, and this is the very first issue. This month will be the second issue, and so again, it is a 5-issue miniseries written by Gail Simone and drawn by, I have no clue what his first name is, but either way, that's pretty much your lineup. But again, I went with the Brett Booth cover D variant, so obviously I like his artwork, and I'll get to Brett Booth here again soon after this book, but still, I do have the remaining of the, pretty much this miniseries pre-ordered, but again, this was pre-ordered, so that's how I got it. So this is really nice, really, once I get all of these in is when I will actually do any reading, but for now, She-Spawn number 1. Next up, it is pretty much the end for pretty much Brett Booth's time on Spawn. It is 375. This is pretty much the end here. He had pretty much got on started working on the series with number 350, and that's by the time I pretty much really got into checking out the newer Spawn stuff. And so since then, I had been pretty much following his entire run. So I have it. I have his entire run. So this is. It's something. It is crazy that we got to this point. But after this, with number 376, is when Matthew Rosenberg and Steven Segovia will be the main creative team on Spawn, and again, all leading up to the 400th issue. Still, this was a bit of an interesting end to it. It felt very. It felt abrupt. Let's put it this way, like it was rushed, and I think that's mostly where a lot of the negative comes from. This was a very rushed ending to because Todd McFarlane came on board sometime at the beginning of last year, and so kind of doing what the other original guy did before, and I forgot his name, but he was at least doing the writing. Still. Todd obviously trying to continue that story going forward, but here after this we're going to get a whole new the storylines and everything is changing, so we'll see what everything goes to at this point. We'll see. Again, if it's good, I'll stick with it. If it's not, that's it, I'm gone. So still, man, I enjoyed the run with Brett Booth on Spawn, so this was a bit of almost a bittersweet end, personally. It was a bittersweet end. Either way, there you have it. And speaking of some more newer series, This is really the only DC Next Level title that I'm pretty much continuing on with, that I've been really enjoying, is the new Deathstroke the Terminator series from Carmine Di Giandomenico, the artist, and writer Tony Fleece. So, I've been enjoying this. Of course, we have Deadshot and Deathblow, and of course, speaking of some more Image characters, really fun. So yeah, I've been digging this, and so I'll continue forward with all of this. I know there's some people that are also digging this, and there's some people that are also really digging the new Lobo series and the Batwoman from Greg Rucka. But either way, for me, I love my action romp, so this is where it's at for me. So Deathstroke the Terminator. Now on to all the books that pretty much I purchased here in town at the How I Knew the Gaming Zone. Since I ended with the DC book, I'll start with the first and only DC book that I picked up at the shop, because the remaining stuff is all Marvel Comics. So since the Lanterns TV show is coming out in August, I figured, since I saw it, it's the DC Comics Silver Age Classics reprint of Showcase number 22, which of course is the very first appearance of Hal Jordan, and I think even the first appearance of Abin Sur and all of that. So again, this is normally the original is a very, very pricey book to begin with. It is a very pricey book. So this Silver Age reprint, this DC Comics Silver Age reprint, whatever that was published in the early 90s, will do for now. So again, the book itself was originally printed in 1959 with some early artwork from Gil Kane, and so really awesome. They have, again, Showcase number 22 in the reprint format. But again, this is a very, very key-heavy book, and it's obviously a good one to begin with. So there you have it. Finally, let's get into all the books, the remaining books I purchased here at the shop, and these are all going to be Marvel. But the first stack really is all X-Men heavy. Again, I had been beginning to get very X-Men heavy with my purchases, but it's mostly been mostly the Bronze Age stuff to begin with, but there's definitely some mostly 80s to begin with, but I got that late Bronze stuff. But for me, there's a couple of classic X-Men issues that I ended up picking up. And again, these two, of course, are reprinted Bronze Age era issues. The first up is number 12. Of course, besides that little issue, is a fairly nice copy that I got for $4 anyways. Again, for a direct edition, but this, of course, is the reprint of X-Men 104 from 1977. It is considered the first battle between Magneto and the new X-Men lineup that had debuted in Giant Size X-Men number 1. And it is so classic there. It's a classic Dave Cockrum, Chris Claremont story. And, of course, in this reprint, we do have a slightly... This is more Arthur Adams' homage to X-Men number 1, that classic Jack Kirby cover. So it pays more homage to that rather than Dave Cockrum's version of the cover, which is similar aesthetic with the background coloring and stuff, but the character placements and how Magneto is drawn is all harkens back to Jack Kirby. So it's really awesome. But either way, back to again, this is the reprint of X-Men number 104, Classic Battle. It is also the first appearance of Corsair and Chod. And if you know Corsair, again, the Starjammers, but he is also the father of Cyclops and, as well, I believe, Havoc, because Havoc is the brother of Cyclops. But this also is the first, or I think second cameo of Lilandra of the Shire Empire. So this was definitely a bit of a key-heavy book to begin with. So if you ever find an original is still a fairly very good book to look for. But again, this is they're very nice. And of course, what's cool about these classic X-Men reprint books is that you also get a bonus exclusive short story. And normally the short stories are usually they will usually fit into the original story. This one is a Magneto short story, and it's definitely more more origin of Magneto, and since it is hinted in this book that he had survived the Holocaust, here the short story elaborates more on that. Now there is another book I'm about to show. I'll eventually show you that where Magneto first really tells about his time in Auschwitz growing up. However, this book is where it's hinted, and the short story really ends up diving more into it and about how he didn't have a family anymore and all of that. It's a fun short story that was only exclusive to this book, and I believe there is some trade paperbacks that would reprint these short stories, but really, they were really exclusive to the classic X-Men reprints. So these are all worth seeking out to begin with, and there'll be even some bonus pages that'd be added in for context. Again, would usually be drawn by John Bolton. So these are usually fun stuff to look for. So classic X-Men number 12, and here we have this number 15. This is definitely not the same type of. This is not the same cover setting, art setting that you would find in X-Men 108. This is what this is a reprint of, and again, that is what makes this very cool too. Again, not only is it the reprint of X-Men 108, which is very much a key book because that is the beginning of the John Byrne, Chris Claremont team up, whatever, which would last up until 143. But again, just like with these reprints, there's a bonus short story. This one, because this one obviously featured the Starjammers. It is, I think, the second appearance of the Starjammers as a team. There is a short origin story for Corsair. How he lost, how he was pretty much separated from Cyclops and everything, growing as a kid. How he separated, how he no longer had a wife and all of that, and how he eventually would form the Starjammers. And so, this was exclusive to X-Men Classic X-Men number 15. Again, a very fun Arthur Adams cover. This is a newsstand print. And it's a very nice copy, though, for a newsstand. I mean, it's not super high grade, but it borders into there. It's a really nice copy. Got for $5, so can't go wrong there. Classic X-Men number 15. And this is obviously inspired by a particular page in the story. There you have it. Now, we are going to get to our original X-Men printing. So, this first step here is King Size Annual number 4, which is the first meeting between the X-Men team that debuted in Giant Size X-Men number 1 and Doctor Strange. But it's also the origin of Nightcrawler. And this also would be, I would consider this to be the first interior work from John Romita Jr. on an X-Men title. So that, I think, is what is pretty interesting about this one that gets overlooked. While John Romita Jr. did do the cover, I think, for, was it like either 130 or 131 with the Dazzler, the first appearance. He may have did the cover for that, but John Byrne was the interior artist in that. So, but he wouldn't do an interior work for until this same year of 1980 that book came out as well. Again, was Annual number 4. So very cool. It's just a very cool key book to begin with, but it's one of the cheaper key books. So again, I paid at least around $7, and it's a nice copy. It's definitely more closer to like a very high mid grade. So we're talking like an 8.5. It is bordering into a high grade. It is a nice copy. So definitely there are some spine ticks. There's definitely some defects, but overall the presentation, it is a very nice looking book. So there you have it. X-Men King Size Annual number 4. Random one, 149. This was when Talk Hawkham pretty much went back onto the series. So 149. Here you have it. A very nice copy of 150. This is the first time where it's elaborated that Magneto was a survivor of Auschwitz. He was a survivor of the Holocaust. And so this is where it's elaborated on and eventually gets even more elaborated and really shown in that classic X-Men number 12. And so it is a very cool book. And again, it's for, I think, again, around, $14 I paid for a very nice copy. Here you have it. And again, a direct Uncanny X-Men number 150. This one's more of a low-grade copy, but whatever. I had a reprint of the annual that this story continues into. But it is Uncanny X-Men 159, which is first work, I think, on any mutant title from Bill Sienkiewicz here. And it is, of course, the book where Dracula turns Storm into, well, a vampire. And this continues into King Size Annual number 6. And so, again, it's a low-grade copy, as you can tell. It is not great, but, again, I paid around $4 for it. It's very fun. Cool cover, though, again, from Bill Sienkiewicz. Very early Sienkiewicz. But this definitely shows his his evolution into the style that you would eventually be more familiar with when he would go on to the New Mutants series. So, very cool there. Since I pretty much showed the most of the bulk of, was it the Brood storyline? Well, there was one issue that was missing, and I ordered it online, and so here it is. Because again, I thought the shop didn't have it. They did, but I think I ended up getting a much nicer copy for at least $12 for free shipping. It was $166, which of course is the very first appearance of Lockheed, which is the, well, Kitty Pryde's little dragon, pet dragon. So this is the first appearance. Very nice looking book. I mean, and it's not a pure high grade, but it's a very good, really good mid grade for this one. So there you have it. Uncanny X-Men 166. Now, that was the ending of all the X-Men stuff. At least I got one random Marvel title, but I had to because this was actually for $7. And for the condition that this book is in, I'm surprised. But it's Adventure into Fear number 15, which is the first appearance of Zerid Na, which I believe is that character right there, who is an Atlantean. But this, I believe, is also consists the second ever cover to be fully drawn by Frank Brunner. Either way, I paid $7 for this. This is actually a fairly nice copy for this book. And now there are some nice copies or some decent copies, but for finding one in the shop for $7 in this condition, which is a really good mid-grade, we're talking about almost, this is, again, for being a 20 center in this shape, there's some defects, but the presentation is very nice. And so, I really couldn't I had to snag it. So, Adventure into Fear, number 15, again with the Man-Thing. Just great. Just absolutely very nice shape. Finally, we're going to end off with some Spider-Man. So, first off, we're going to here's a low-grade copy of Marvel Tales 141, which is the reprint of, well, Amazing Spider-Man number 4, which is the very first appearance of the Sandman. And this is a very fun book. I got this for $4, but it is starting to kind of creep up in value, I've noticed. In very nice shape, it's starting to. I think, again, after the Spider-Noir series on Amazon Prime, but still, the Sandman in general is definitely one of those very valuable books to begin with. So, finding at least a low-grade copy of, it means a decent low grade. It's not like it's horrible. It's just that it's got a lot of defects, but it's still decently presentable. Still, for the price and for what it is, I jumped on it, so I can't really complain. So at least I have a copy of what is basically the first appearance of the Sandman. And this one's a fairly newer edition, because since the shop has a couple early, some Bronze Age Spectacular Spider-Man for $5, really, and especially in pretty nice shape. number 12, which is the first appearance of Razorback. Now, they say cameo, but Comics Lee says he's a supporting character and doesn't list him as a cameo. So there's very much a very high chance there might be some miscommunication or misrepresentation. But it's also the first appearance for the cult leaders or group, whatever, Brother Power and Sister Sun, right here. And again, I paid $5 for this. And again, fairly nice shape, with of course artwork from Al Milgrom, with interior work from Sal Buscema. Again, written by Bill Mantlo and Archie Goodwin. There you have it, Spectacular Spider-Man number 12. And finally, I wish this was nicer shape, but still, for $5, oh well, I'll go for it. But number 21, since the Scorpion is going to be in the movie, I figured I'll pick up, and it's in very nice. It's a pretty cool Keith Pollard cover. Again, as you can tell, it could be in much better shape. It can be in way better shape. But this one's not super easy to find in nice shape to begin with for some reason. There are some, but you really have to do some digging. Either way, it's pretty cool to have. It's pretty much a reader's copy, so I'll have fun. It works out fine. So, number 21, and of course the second, number 22 and 23 are the issues of Moon Knight, so eventually I'll get a hold of those. There you have it. Spectacular Spider-Man number 21. So that's pretty much it. This was definitely a Marvel-heavy haul video. So if you have any sort of thoughts on any of the stuff that I showed you, you can leave them all down in the comment section below. Well, until then, if you like what you see on my channel, if you like what I talk about, not only will it do me great, but it'll do you great, because once you hit that subscriber button, you will never miss out on any new content. So until then, enjoy, and keep on hunting, keep on collecting, and keep on reading. Take care, everybody.